Hi, everybody. It's Leigh and Kerry from Geekshow, and welcome, if you will, to our show of geek.
Now we're going to be talking about Episode 8, Picard Season 3. So, spoilers, if you haven't watched it, don't come crying to us when you say you spoiled it, because we told you we're going to spoil it.
We're all about those spoilers with this particular show. And again, another bottle episode that didn't feel like a bottle episode.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's some good writing, isn't it? When you can do a bottle episode that's not.
Yeah, like you're all shipboard, which also goes, if these are really, truly bottle episodes, does that mean episode 9 and 10 are just going to be, the whole time? Because, gosh, it's sure starting to feel like it. Picard Season 3, Episode 8, the title is Surrender, was the name of the episode, and once again, they make you think it's going to be one thing when it actually pertained to another. So, should we do like we did last week, Kerry, and just hit character by character?
Let's do it.
Okay, so, getting to Picard, who actually had the least amount going on in this episode.
That's true. He wasn't on screen that much, was he?
He was not. I thought maybe he had directed it, but he had not. No. But he and Beverly are on one part of the ship because Vadic has locked everything down. In a little tip of the hat to the original Khan episode, Space Seed, she didn't go after the ship by blowing it up and killing everybody. She went after the ship by taking over all of its vital services. And so you have life support, gravity, all that stuff, you own the ship, right?
That's right.
So.
And I think my favorite part was her smoking.
Yeah, it's funny. We'll be checking in with our Den of Geek Easter egg guide here a little bit later, but they actually do tie that into an Easter egg from Wrath of Khan.
Well, she was just doing it so sinister.
Yeah.
That's just that actress. She's just amazing.
Let's actually go to Vadic because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Amanda Plummer, fantastic actress, daughter of Christopher Plummer, amazing actor. Trek royalty here.
This is what was funny. My wife walked through the TV room while I was watching it, and she stopped and looked for a second, and she goes, "Is that Honey Bunny?" Because she knows her Pulp Fiction. Anyway.
Right? Knows her Pulp Fiction. So great little thing here. Christopher Plummer, by the way, a little Easter egg for you here, was originally considered for the role of James Tiberius Kirk.
And would have killed it. But I'm glad that we got him as General Chang.
Yes, I'm also glad as well. The story is legendary, and we'll save it for another time. But let's just say when you have the appetites that Christopher Plummer had in the 60s, sometimes your understudy has to take the stage.
Damn right. He lived. He lived.
Oh, boy, did he ever live.
We'll just put it that way.
Ah, my gosh. So, Vadic, smoking, I thought at first, what a strange thing to be smoking. So, well, changelings that have all their internal organs for the first time ever would find that really exhilarating. Like,
I think they would.
Things that solids do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Also reminded me of another changeling that we've seen smoking like this. Star Trek 6. You remember?
Oh, yeah. That was Iman, right?
Iman. Oh, incredibly beautiful and just so sexy but sinister when she was...
Yeah. So Vadic, as Vincent points out in the chat, Vadic was conducting the symphony of screams of the Titan crew as they were running through the ship. I found something that I don't like. Like, my oldest kid has a problem when we're watching Star Wars movies in the prequel era, when nameless clones just get blown away sometimes by the hundreds.
Yeah.
It's really hard to watch. I hate it when science officers or science crew get killed, and it seemed like they were pulling out the blue shirts by the dozen in this episode.
Well, they were just going around taking, that was some good filmmaking. You didn't see it happen.
No.
You heard it happen. And you could tell what was going on, and the actors on the bridge, the camera scrolls across them, and you could see them reacting. These are our friends and crewmates being murdered right now.
Yeah. And you can tell it's having an effect on them. And I love it when they get to the Bajoran fleet officer, and they're like, "You're going to give it up," and he's like, "Nope, I'm Starfleet." And I'm like, "That's my boy."
I stood up. And I went,
But then they went and killed my science officer Vulcan lady that I actually loved more than anything.
She was a potentially great character, I think.
Yeah, I was like, if this got spun off into its own show, I can't wait to see her background, learn more about her. Instead, they made us like her so that they could disintegrate her. So,
Well, that carries more weight. We make you care about somebody, and then
Yeah, and again,
what?
a scientist. She wasn't security. She was a
Yeah.
scientist.
Well, and that was the look I was getting with the actors when they were, looking across their faces. They're hearing their comrades get killed.
Yeah.
I could see in their faces this is such good acting, and maybe I'm projecting. I don't know, but it was. We didn't sign up for this.
No, and
we're explorers.
Right. And Starfleet isn't military. Starfleet has military. Starfleet isn't by nature military. It is an exploration and diplomacy corps with phasers.
Yeah.
Oh man. So,
yeah.
Thing with Vadic, we're just going to jump straight to the jump with this. She is taunting, she is teasing, she is tormenting, the three big T's that villains do. And I thought that I was convinced that we were going to get the big Jack Crusher reveal in this episode. And she teases it. She knows about the red door. She knows about the voices. And yet, she has her moment with Jack on the bridge. And then what did they do? They killed her.
Yeah. I would, again, you're not expecting these things to happen. It's like, why haven't these folks been in charge of Star Trek for all this time? Why don't we let this writer's room do it,
And just that for her last line to be, effing solids, she gets sucked off the bridge. And we get to see that little... There's just so much interplay getting up to that moment where Shaw's so pissed at Seven because she's not following orders. She was supposed to let him die in the turbo lift, and she's like, no, I'm not letting you die in the turbo lift. And then he's so mad at her because she's like, she wants to fight the changelings, and then Jack shows up with that thermal detonator. Was not a thermal detonator.
Well, we can cross-pollinate there.
Yeah, exactly.
Now here's our chat room, and they pointed this out. Vincent in the chat room points out, anyone else get massive Negan vibes during the bridge scene?
Yes.
Which, if you remember when we met Negan on Walking Dead, that whole him walking behind the people who were kneeling down, doing the eeny, meeny, miny, mo with his bat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that the cat has the mice, all the mice. So,
yeah. Oh God, it was so good.
Yeah, it really was a great villain, and it really makes me wonder if she's gone this closely.
I wonder.
Can you kill a changeling like that?
I wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, space can kill just about anything.
Yeah, you can. A human being, things you learn when you read a lot. A human being could live in the vacuum of space for just shy of a minute and a half, from what I'm understanding. There's no actual temperature in space. It's the vacuum, the pressure of vacuum that'll kill you. So,
I wonder if she were grabbed right away and brought inside. I don't know.
But she exploded when she hit the thing.
So that's right. They'd
have to go out with like a butterfly net and get all those Vadic pieces, and does she have the internal changeling goo to put all that together?
Yeah, I think she's done, and we're headed now to Frontier Day, and
whatever the big bad is.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, we get this, Magnificent Seven bit with just basically Worf and Raffi liberating Riker and Troi. Some really good acting from Frakes and Marina Sirtis.
I was going to say Frakes is really just blowing me away in this whole thing. I mean, he's always been an okay actor, in my opinion. Not great, okay.
We said it before. I think directing has made him good.
Yeah, he got good over, I would even say, season 2 to season 3. Or they gave him more to do. Yeah.
Yeah, could be. And we learn...
I mean, season 1. Season 1 is what I bet.
Yeah. We learned some stuff about their relationship that they hinted at a little bit, because I was surprised that he left, because he seemed like happy-go-lucky Riker in season 1. Oh, my pizza's burning. He seemed a little manic. And then we find out that was Deanna. Deanna had taken his grief away from him. She had blocked his grief from him, and that's why he had to leave, because he had to feel it. He had to feel the numbness of losing their son, and her anger and frustration at him, because as an empath, she's like, I got to turn you off, buddy. I've got to turn you off. So,
would that we had that power with some people we know.
Would that we did. Now, this has been confirmed by Terry Matalas, the showrunner of this.
Yes.
They mentioned their daughter. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. She is canonically in a like gifted and talented precursor to Starfleet Academy program.
Oh,
So
okay.
she was not going to get grabbed unless, of course, there's changelings involved in that program. But
And everyone is speculating that Diana is a changeling, but I'm like, no, there's too much personal stuff that's being shared between these two. That's
yeah, she knows way too much. So, and Kestra, thanks again, Vincent's actually running the knowledge, the memory alpha for us in this.
Thank you,
episode.
Vincent.
So, running back to Picard and Beverly, they're with which one of Geordi's daughters are they with?
The pilot
one.
Yeah.
The pilot one. I gotta have to remember their
one.
names. They haven't had enough screen time. They're both fantastic.
There's engineer and pilot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with names anyway, so it's
Yeah, so they're with them trying to figure out what they can do to try to get through to the ship, take the ship over, and LaForge goes, "Oh, well, if only we had somebody who could do 100 billion computations a second," and boom, over to Geordi and his other daughter trying to figure out what to do with data lore, lol, before soon. Because there's some really great cat and mouse going on here, and boy, when you get inside the positronic network and see Data just start feeding Lore his memories, so that, and I fell for it.
He tricked us all. I think he tricked us all, and I really liked that the hollow photo that he had
Of Tasha.
I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, it was so well done, and again, to Brent Spiner for pulling double duty here and not being so cheesy with it, being able to switch back and forth between the characters, and essentially Data Trojan horsed Lore, which was brilliant because he knew Lore was going to feel anything that Data felt was precious. He had to have as a conquest or a trophy, which allowed Data to plant himself inside Lore, knowing that Lore was going to take over anyway. And it was really great. Again, that ego id.
It was Holmes versus Moriarty there as well, in my mind.
Very true.
I'm just going to feed you Moriarty, and Moriarty's, yes, I'm evil. And then there's, oh, by the way.
So good. And then having him not have to revert to the sped up Data. We all know that if you have an interface with something, you don't need to use your hands. And all of a sudden, he's got the Enterprise back. And just the look on Vadic's face when that happens is just fantastic, because they use Jack as, again, another Trojan horse. That he's distracting her. She's got a gloat. She's got a monologue. And
see, now, you just Freudian slipped what I want to have happen. You called the ship the Enterprise.
I did, didn't I?
It's the Titan, but I want at the end of this show to it be recommissioned as the Enterprise F. I do.
Oh, we still don't know what happened to the Enterprise E.
Isn't that didn't it get destroyed?
I don't know. Did it get destroyed at the end of Nemesis? Because I tried
no, it didn't.
I scoured my brain with red hot pokers after Nemesis. So
it did not get destroyed. I don't think. Vincent, did it get destroyed?
Let us know in the chat. I'm not sure. I mean, off camera, it may have been destroyed. There may have been something that happened with it. But one of the things that I absolutely loved was the bit with Jack and Seven. Jerry Ryan had some great lines in this episode. Throwing down that I thought was the thermal detonator, and it's just a personal shield, and then finding out that view screen opens up.
Yeah. It's as Kirk said, you've got to learn why things do what they do on a starship or something like that.
Absolutely. So the view screen opens up. They suck the bad guys out into space. They become changeling sickles, and that's that. There was some stuff that we're kind of glassing over just a little bit, but like they got Raffi and Worf. They got Picard's body. So all of the things that we thought were going to be big reveals in 9 and 10, they've already got the body. They've already dealt with Vadic.
Well, they're all set up now to the big finale, to the last 2 episodes, to go into Frontier Day, find out what's going on, save the day. Mm-hmm. The crew is now functioning on all cylinders. They're all there. They think they know the plan. They're pretty sure what the plan is. They've got Jack, I can't say figured out.
Well, they're really playing with the Betazoid power set in a way that I don't think they really had the courage to back in the 80s and early 90s. She's able to project herself through a meditation technique with Jack. She's like, we're going to go open that door together. I'm coming with you. And she's able to project herself in there with him, into his mind with him, to support him and to back him up. And that's also how you know, unless she's whatever he is, that it's definitely Deanna, because she's feeling all that stuff, she's seeing all that, she's sensing all that stuff, and that door is terrifying. And it's just a door.
Yeah, it is. Not a lot for Beverly to do in this episode. Not a lot for Picard to do in this episode.
No.
But it was all about setting up the rest of the pieces, because that's your king and queen right there. So you got the rest of the pieces on the board now. You're all set up, ready for that coming up conclusion in 9 and 10.
It feels like it's going to be really hard.
It is. Any predictions of mortality of our final pieces on the board?
So there's 2 things that I think that are going to happen, and one of them is only one of them can happen, right? So I think Picard might just swan song out.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's going to swan song out, and the last scene's going to be that poor Romulan lady that loves sitting at a bar by herself. Or they're going to save the day. They're going to have the big Federation Day parade, blah, blah, blah. They're going to do their space Final Frontier thing, and then he's going to show up at the bar. But the last scene's going to be the same. That's my prediction.
Got to be the bar. Okay, yeah. I like it.
I keep Riker and Troi around as like the grand ambassadors of the next gen to the new crew, which I feel it in my heart. It's happening. It's going to happen. I believe we're going to introduce Admiral Janeway finally. We've seen her. She's already doing the work. She's already showing up and doing animation work. So
I hope so.
I could see her being in one of the last 2 episodes in some way.
And here's what I want. Again, I don't know. This is what I want. I want Nana Visitor to show up.
Nana Visitor? Yeah, that would be fantastic.
And to say something about, the changelings, because she was so close to Odo for so long. I want her to show up and say something about the changelings, just to kind of put it, because this season has been really Deep Space Nine heavy, and I just don't know how you go this Deep Space Nine heavy without somebody from the show. Yeah, well, I mean, Worf, you could say, is a DS9 character, but
for half the season or half the series he was
there.
But so I see those characters sticking around. Pardon me, my dog has decided she really has to be part of this conversation.
Well, now this is officially a Kevin Smith podcast. Anyway,
yeah, exactly.
Let's get to. Should we get to the Easter eggs?
Let's dive into the Easter eggs. Okay, so here we go again. Den of Geek. Normally we don't do a lot reaching out to other organizations, but they've done some good work here. So Vadic smoking on the bridge. The Wrath of Khan. There's actually signage all over the Enterprise set that say no smoking.
on the set of Wrath of Khan, not on the Enterprise. Okay.
On the set, no, on the actual Enterprise. There are signs on the bridge of the Enterprise that say no smoking, and if you actually go frame by frame, you can see.
I've got to go and look. Okay.
Yeah. Again, they're the ones that notice that she is aping Khan, but from Space Seed, not from Wrath of.
Yes.
There's a great interplay between Riker and Troi, where he calls her Imzadi, and she's like, that you need to learn more words.
I wish I'd have taught you more words.
And I think the word she taught him was big fat baby, which was great. They point out that, again, Imzadi means beloved, but it's like a simplified form of beloved for people who aren't empaths. Also, Troy's joke, good in bed, bad at pizza, was freaking hilarious. So, and you still don't know if she banged the changeling or not, because she says she knew he was a fake the second she met him.
That's what she says, yeah. That's what she says.
But still.
I think she did, but anyway.
Right. Picard's secret codex, and this one I absolutely loved. Picard Alpha Tango has been consistent for as long as Picard has had a codex. So in this,
I follow somebody on social media who said, you think it's changed his password by now, but he's old, so he didn't.
He throws some new stuff into it. In First Contact, his password was Picard 47 Alpha Tango.
Okay.
And in this, his security is 1211 Picard Alpha Tango 75. So he just added some numbers. It's like when you use the
That's
same
what we all do.
Right.
Exclamation point. You know.
Right. Yeah.
One.
Mine's Geek Show Rules 23. Don't ask me why the 23's there. Yeah. Raktajino, the Raktajino
Yes.
lattes that Deanna brings up. Deanna is, of course, a fan of Klingon coffee, and Benjamin Sisko absolutely consumed this stuff by the gallon. So,
As did Janeway.
yes, big Raktajino fans. Also, a great tip of the hat to the brief period of time that Worf and Troi dated. So,
That's canon. That's canon.
Yep. So the following the episode Parallels, they were together for a bit before things started to heat back up between Troi and Riker, and this also ties into the series finale of Next Gen All Good Things, where there was a wedge between Worf and Riker because of Deanna dying. So
That's right. That's right.
the shuttle Emerson using the same cloaking device from the Bounty, so not a huge Easter egg, but just tying back into, no, they didn't find another Easter egg for the Emerson, they just took the Bounty's cloak device with it. Another shout out for Chateau Picard sucking. Geordi said that it was too dry to his pedestrian tastes. And
I predict Picard will sell the winery at the end.
So
Nobody
I
likes
that.
my wine, number one. I'm done.
And that was his changeling challenge question, was what did you bring 5 years ago to my anniversary dinner? And Picard's very salty. Chateau Picard that you said was too dry for your pedestrian palate. Fantastic. Lore, his Easter eggs. So we hear dialogue from the episode Elementary Dear Data. We also see his Holmes hat as well as his pipe. And we also get the references to Sherlock Holmes from the Bounty episode. We get Tasha Yar, Spot the cat, who Data says taught him to love, that his emotion of love came from the cat. And the TNG era tricorder, the deck of playing cards that he says taught him the power of friendship, playing poker. Again, Spot and the hologram. Vadic's death and her final last words, I have to agree, were probably some of the most iconic death words of a person. And a Easter egg to Data not being able to use contractions. So he was able to use contractions now that his personalities are merged.
Yes.
It's got to be fun.
I wouldn't have noticed that. See, I thank God for the internet, because I'm not that observant when it comes to these kind of things.
Even with Geordi pointing it out, I'm like, yeah. And then this one I absolutely loved. This is the first time in 21 years that we've seen the Big Seven of TNG in a ready room together. So,
All around that table.
all around the table. First time in 21 years. So literally, a child could have been born the last time this group was together and could legally drink now. In that span of time.
Oh, man. Don't do that to me.
So yeah, the Easter eggs were great. The episode was great. The music was great. All the throwbacks to classic music from every composer who's ever tackled Trek.
They've touched on everyone, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. And of course, I thought it was overkill and a little cheesy, but I still got excited when Shaw basically told Seven to blow the hell out of the Shrike. Yeah, you didn't really need to unleash everything you had at it, but I'm sure it felt good.
Why the hell not? You know?
Why the hell not? And then that glorious shot of the Titan slowly turning around, and I'm just like, yeah, Kerry just got out the lotion.
Oh, I did. Vincent again reminds me of another great line. My name is 7 of 9.
Yeah,
because Shaw keeps dead naming her, and
keeps dead naming her. Yeah, and I think he might call her 7, and we'll all just weep openly. So, two more episodes.
Oh. I want them and I want more. I'm being selfish, I have to admit. This has been some of the best Trek that I've seen in a long damn time.
Yeah.
And it's made me this season has made me, it's reaffirmed my love of the Star Trek universe.
Yeah, it's not when Pink Floyd got back together in the early 2000s and Waters said it was like banging your ex. when it's awesome at first and you're like, what the hell am I doing? I'm thinking now it's like you start remembering what was so great about this. The only allegory I have for this is I went to this really nice Italian restaurant for my last anniversary with my wife. Really, really nice. And they brought out these tiny, tiny plates, and I thought to myself, being, half caveman and half Yeti, when's dinner? Right? and then I had a bite and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing. I savored it. I loved it. And when I was done, I was done. Like, there was no part of me that was like, I need more of this. I was like, this was phenomenal. This is one of the best meals I've ever had. This is one of the best, most satisfying, I've already watched every episode a second, if not a third time.
Oh,
I don't watch things over again anymore. I'm too old for that. I could sprain a hip next week. I don't have time for this. I had time for this. I want to revisit it. I want to savor it. And
I do. I want to watch it again. I really do, to pick up on all these things that I've missed. But I'm not going to do that until it's done, and then I'll start it again. It's reaffirmed my love of this franchise. It's always been for me the trifecta. Trek, Wars, and Marvel Comics. And I started really with Batman. But anyway, but those three have been my holy trinity, and they've shaped my moral compass. Some people have the Bible, some people, this has been my moral compass, and
it's a good one to run by.
It's just been reaffirmed again that Trek is, and I keep moving the positions of this moral compass. Yeah. I mean, Wars is always at the bottom, but it's always been Marvel, Trek, Marvel, Trek. Trek is back on top now for me.
Yeah, it's amazing how just 8 hours of something can do that to you.
Exactly.
Addressing what Bug Hunter brings up about Troi being a changeling, that empaths and telepaths are not quite the same. We don't really know what the Betazoid power set is. Like, they are empathic, but there may be a little bit of telepathy in there. And also, like, she seems to really be zooming in on this. The reason why I don't think she's a changeling is that she knows way too much about what happened between her and Riker.
Yeah, exactly.
About her blocking his pain. Like, she brought it up, not him. And I think, considering the amount of time, I feel like they were in that cell together being alternately tortured by the changelings for quite some time. I think something would have slipped at some point. But
I think so, too, yeah.
Yeah. But
I think that we're all... they could be throwing us off. I think that the crew of the Titan right now are all the good guys. I really do.
Agreed, because they were a little too terrified. I saw the tears, and I felt them, and I wanted to weep too, because damn it, I'm Starfleet through and through as well. What I want to say to everyone is the final season of the 12 Monkeys series that Terry Matalas also wrote and show ran, there was a through line of people referring to a red forest. So he had it's kind of like J.J. Abrams in his mystery box. And no one really saw what was coming at all. So there are some people that I've talked to in the last few days, huge 12 Monkeys fans, who said, yeah, you don't know what's going on. You might as well have fun pretending like you know.
Just enjoy the ride. It's a roller coaster. Just sit back and let it happen to you. But and go back and watch that 12 Monkeys series. It was actually quite good.
Yeah, it's next up on my queue for that. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in and watching a couple old men blather about their favorite things. If this were Sound of Music, I would definitely be the Julie Andrews character. So,
well, and someday I'll tell the tale of how I got into Star Trek: The Next Generation, because I rejected it at first.
Very quickly, my science teacher wanted to hate it because she couldn't stand the idea of a Klingon on the bridge. So I told her I would watch it if she watched it, and we both ended up loving it.
Really? Okay. Yeah. I didn't embrace it until season 3, and there's a reason for that, and I'll tell that story someday.
Yeah, I can't. We'll do a little deep dive on the deep divery on this stuff. So, thanks again, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe. Carrie, you want to take us out here?
If you would please join us again next week for the further adventures of two old guys talking about Star Trek.